Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal. Welcome. I'm here tonight flying solo again. Kurt Levin's had a Christmas engagement, so he's was tied up tonight, or this afternoon, I should say. An interesting game. The Oilers lost 5-2 to a very strong Minnesota Wild team. The grade A shots in the game were 27 for the Wild and 15 for the Oilers, with the subset of 5 alarm shots a little closer, 14 for the Wild and 10 for the Oilers. So I think I worked out the expected goals to be about 7-4 in this game. And one of those goals, of course, that did go in, of the 5 goals, was an empty net goal. So a heroic effort by Oilers goalie Calvin Pickard, who gave them a chance to win and stepped up big with Tristan Jarry out. The Oilers have called up Connor Ingram to be the backup, which was an interesting call. I guess I'll get to that and one other issue with the Oilers roster at the end of the podcast. But for now, let's get into 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers. Okay, it seems like it's one of those nights where you want to start with the bad things almost, because that's what comes to mind in this game is that. But the good things were one of them was huge, and that was Calvin Pickard. So he just, the Oilers, the Wild could have easily had 7 goals on him, but for some heroic saves that he made. He faced a storm early on, the first 7 grade A shots of the game, and he let in just one of them. He had a really sharp stop on a really nasty Marcus Johansson slaughter just seconds into the game. They broke in, and he had that. He got beat badly on Boldy's breakaway, but that was an ugly mistake at the blue line by Mattias Ekholm. Being a beer league defenseman, I have sympathy for defensemen on plays like that. But Ekholm got beat badly, and Boldy went in, and such a great score. But a moment later, Trent Frederick got beat at the blue line by a Brock Faber-Deke, and Faber went in for a really dangerous shot, and Pickard got it. The power play goal by Boldy that came a moment later was an extremely hard one-timer shot. No attempt at blocking the shot, and we'll get into that in a second, what broke down there on that goal against, but that was a really difficult play for him. When the Oilers clawed back into the game, they gave up a wretched goal at the end of the first period, which was really the key play of the game, and I'm going to talk about that in some excruciating detail. But after that, he made 7 consecutive saves on grade A shots from the Wild, and that's when he really did keep the Oilers in the game. And included in that was just an absolute monster chiller thriller of a blocker save off Eriksson Ek after Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. There was a back pass from Bouchard on the blue line, which was a fine back pass. There was 2 guys there, and Hyman and Nuge both left it for the other guy. So there was a 3-on-1, and that's when Eriksson Ek broke in for his wicked shot. A moment later, Pickard thwarted Johansson on a 5-alarm slot shot. There was a couple close-in, really dangerous shots by Foligno. I'm not sure which Foligno it is. There's been a number of them. Let me just check. They're almost as they're maybe more Marcus Foligno. Lots of Folignos. In the third, he kept it up, kept the Oilers in there. There was a dangerous tip shot by Trenin, and Kaprizov came in for a wicked rush shot after Quinn Hudson got caught flat-footed, and Darnell Nurse got caught flat-footed as Kaprizov broke up the ice. And then there was a really dangerous Kaprizov backhander. So, and then the fourth goal against was just a mad scramble. He played great. Pickard really did his job. Maybe I should have given him an 8. I gave him a 7 because there were 4 goals scored. But that's about twice as many grade A shots and 5 alarm shots as you expect in a game. And he really did give his team a chance to win. Maybe I'll upgrade it to an 8 after the game is over, after this is over. Because he, despite the score, the goalie got it done. The other thing I want to highlight is Andrew Mangiapane finally got a goal. He'd been without scoring in a long time. And so he's been struggling, especially on the attack. His defensive play has generally been okay. But that goal was it was a great offensive movement by the Edmonton Oilers. The kind of thing they're capable of doing, and they pulled it off. There was Nurse won a battle in his own zone to kick it off. The puck goes up the ice. McDavid and Nurse keep the puck in at the blue line with 2 solid plays. There's a nice pass from Draisaitl to the point. Bouchard, who was great on the attack in this game, had some warts on defense, like most of the Oilers did. Puts it on net, and Mangiapane is going to the net and tips it in. It was a spectacular goal by the Oilers, by Mangiapane, so good for him. Bad things. I'm just going to go with the Ekholm mistake is a big mistake. It leads to a breakaway, but I'm going to go with the second and the third goals. Knobloch had taken McDavid off the off the penalty kill for some time. And he put him back on there a game or two ago, and it worked out. McDavid scored a big shorthanded goal. And but tonight it burnt the team, and for the reason that I think the McDavid isn't fundamentally that much on the penalty kill, and I don't think should be generally on the penalty kill unless they really need a goal. They're in their formation. Minnesota's moving the puck around, and the puck goes to the left half wall. The player has clear possession of it. It's not one of those moments where you'd think one of the defenders should charge over there and try to win the puck, because there's clear possession. And you want to hold your formation so you can prevent a really dangerous shot in a situation like that. Your chances of winning it aren't great. But McDavid is drawn to the puck, and he charges over there. And because he charges over there, Nugent Hopkins now is left alone in the middle of the ice. So when the puck is put back to the top of the umbrella to the point, instead of having backup, when Nuge goes out there, he's on an island and there's no one to back him up and no one to get over there and possibly help take away Boldy's shot or prevent the pass on Boldy's shot. Or maybe McDavid, if he had stayed in position, would have been able to cover the point, and Nuge could have blocked that pass over to Matt Boldy. So the puck goes from the point, middle of the ice, to Boldy, who is just wide open. No one around him. Nurse is covering a guy in front of the net, and I think that's probably the proper play. Because again, McDavid has opened up the entire ice for Minnesota to attack with his over-aggression. And in his own situation, over-aggression is just as deadly as under-aggression. And I think that's what caused the goal against. Maybe others will differ on the play, but I just think that was really on McDavid. It was just, Boldy had a clear shot, one-timer shot from high in the circle and wired it into the top corner of the net. Maybe he gets off that shot anyway, even if they're playing it perfectly, but it would have been harder for them to do. Nonetheless, the Edmonton Oilers came back from being down 2-0 to tie the game 2-2 late in the third on a power play goal by McDavid. Great play by a number of players on the power play goal, and McDavid was Johnny on the spot to put it in. They've tied the game. They've come back. It's 2-2. It's great. Like, mission accomplished. They're out of this first period where the Wild, again, has had, come out strong, the first 7 grade A shots, 2-0 lead, and you fought your way back. And all you have to do now is get out of the period, get to the dressing room feeling pretty good about 2-2 score, and that your goalies kept you in the game. And what happened next was one of the single worst sequences of pain that we've seen on the Oilers this year. Starts in the offensive end where Leon Draisaitl has the puck with about 35 seconds left, I'm going to guess. Let me just see what time that goal was scored, just to be sure. Oh, yes. 6. No, looking at the wrong thing here. Here we go. I think there were 6 seconds left in the period when the goal scored. So this might be even 20 seconds. It's probably 20 seconds left in the period. He attempts a no-look backhand pass. He's near the blue line. He attempts a no-look backhand pass down the boards, and it's picked off. And they immediately put it up the boards. And instead of retreating on the play, Draisaitl, again, he's over-aggressive this time. He attacks a player who has full possession of the puck with time to make a pass, and he goes after him to hit him. And you know you're going to be passed around in that situation, and your chances of winning the puck when a player has full possession like that are really small. It's just not a good defensive play. First of all, the turnover was a no-look backhander, and now you're compounding that. So he does that, and the pass then goes out to the center ice area. And the player who gets the puck, he's wide open. For some reason, the defenseman there, Riley Stillman, who should be on the player at center ice, is way giving up way too much gap. He's way back, 15, 20 feet away in the Oilers zone. So because he's out of position, he now draws Matt Savoy, who could possibly come back and back check someone, but he's drawn to the puck. It's not necessarily a mistake on Savoy's part to be drawn to the puck, but he fails to cut out the pass. So he's more of a victim of his teammates' mistakes, although he does, again, fail to cut out the pass to Jacob Middleton, who's steaming up the ice. Andrew Mangiapane is in the center ice zone. He could easily, if he's moving his feet, if he's thinking, if he's concentrating, if he wants to kill off the period, if he's shoulder checking, he would cover easily Middleton steaming up the ice. But he doesn't. He's caught flat-footed as Middleton charges ahead. He gets the pass. And now it's a 2-on. Now it's a 2-on-1. Now it's a 2-on-1. And Emberson's caught back there because Stillman, after being late to recognize the danger in the neutral zone, comes back slowly in this passing play. He doesn't get on his horse and get back there. So Emberson's caught down low, and he's victimized now by the mistakes of his teammates, essentially Draisaitl, Stillman, and Mangiapane being the prime culprits here. And Emberson's caught on a 2-on-1. It's passed by him and put in the net. So it's just a terrible, you can't, the Oilers have been giving away cheap goals at the end of games recently. It's happened 2 or 3 or 4 times in the past few weeks, which has made their goalies look worse than they probably are. So they're having a problem focusing right at the end in garbage time. But this wasn't garbage time. This was a really key moment in the game when they needed to shut things down and get out of the period. And I think the game wasn't over then. It's 3-2, but it's a huge blow to the Oilers' hopes of winning a game on the road against a very difficult and powerful hockey team playing excellent hockey. And not good. So those are the 2 bad things I'll highlight tonight. Numbers. So the Oilers now are... Listen, it's not dire, obviously. They have 40 points in 36 games. They are 2 points out of first place, but Vegas has 4 games in hand on them. Vegas has 42 points. The Oilers have 40. Vegas has a 656 points percentage. The Oilers have, and this is my number, 556 point percentage, which makes the Oilers at real 500. In the Batman NHL, 556 point percentage is about real 500. The Oilers have, if you look at it, the Oilers have 17 wins and they have 19 losses. 17 wins, 19 losses. 6 of those losses coming in overtime or shootouts. So they've won the majority of their overtime or shootout games. So they have this .556 point percentage, which is about average. Their goals for and against are 121, for 124 against. So again, this speaks to just a really average team right now through the first part of the year. That said, I mean, the Oilers have probably had one of the toughest. It's hard. I haven't looked at it, but I can imagine they've had one of the top 5 hardest schedules in the league. They've played a lot of games. They've played all their Eastern Road games now. That's out of the way. Although when they go west now, they're going to be facing some tougher teams than they have in recent years in Anaheim and San Jose, who are certainly a lot more fortified for victory than they were in the past, when the Oilers did really well in the second half because they beat up on teams like that. So we'll see how easy it is to this year. But the Oilers, they've got 2 more games until Christmas. I think so. This was a 5-game road trip. Kurt Levins and I were hoping they'd get 5 points. They got 6. So this was a successful road trip. Even though, and I'm not saying this game slipped away. The Wild probably were clearly the better team tonight. So, but 6 points in 5 games was good for the road trip. They've got 2 more games, one against Vegas and one against Calgary. It would be great in these final 2 games to get 3 points before Christmas. That should be the goal. I think that would be a reasonable expectation is 3 points. Vegas, I think, is missing Jack Eichel. So time to beat them. And now the Oilers are missing their top goalie, Tristan Jarry. But and it looks like I'm guessing they're going to play Connor Ingram tomorrow, who was called up from Utah. But we'll see about that. It's possible Pickard could play back-to-back, but he was super active tonight. He's got to be drained and he's got to be sore and tired. So the Oilers, completely average team right now. And why is that? Well, they've had some bad goaltending. I can't remember if I mentioned this last podcast, but since the Skinner trade, I've had a number of people say, I just couldn't stand it anymore when Pickard was out there, because I just had this feeling of dread, this sense that something bad was going to happen. He was going to let in a bad goal against. And I think this was, I think I did talk about this. It might have been shared by the team, might well have been shared by the team. It's what happens when you have a goalie who's consistently beat on the same kinds of plays that other goalies are going to make saves on. Skinner might have made more saves on, let's say, point shots, outside shots, shots head on than other goalies, because he's a big goalie. When he was on and centered, he was a good goalie in that. But man, he had a hard time going side to side. He had a hard time cutting out passes through the slot. He had a hard time with plays coming from behind the net. And he had a hard time with puck management. So there was all of these situations where this feeling of dread came. So that was obviously one big problem with the Oilers. A second big problem was the defensive unit in the first 20 games. They were just awful. And every defenseman was awful. There wasn't really one who was playing solid hockey, or at least as well as he played last year under Paul Coffey. Since that time, they have played a lot better on defense, not tonight. But as a group and as a team, they've played better defensively. And players like Nurse and Emberson have really stepped up, although Emberson had a tough night tonight. He was put in a lot of tough spots by his teammates. He was kind of the victim of their mistakes and wasn't able to bail them all out a few times. But he made mistakes on 7 grade A shots against, when usually he makes 1 or 2 per game. The third thing that's killing the Oilers, and this is my number, is and this has been talked about by a lot of people, it's the inability of the third and fourth lines to compete at an NHL level. So with McDavid and or Draisaitl on the ice at 5-on-5, the Oilers have played 985 minutes, and they've outscored the opposition 56-43. That's outstanding. That's great hockey against tough competition, led by your top 2 players and your other top players. Without McDavid and Draisaitl at 5-on-5 in 815 minutes, they've scored 17 goals and given up 41. They are getting crushed. They are getting absolutely crushed. And it's clear that as much as Adam Henrique has to offer a game, being a third-line center isn't probably in his repertoire anymore. Good face-off man. I think he's a good penalty killer. Good defensive player. He's a fourth-line center at this point and needs to play there. They need to find somebody else pronto to play that role. On the wing, it's anybody's guess who's going to fit in on that line and who's going to be the center. Maybe it'll have to be RNH. If Roslovic comes back healthy and ready to play, maybe RNH can slot there. Bob Stauffer talked about Roslovic going there again. I don't see Roslovic as having the defensive attitude or ability to really get the job done as a center. I think he's a great winger, and he should play on the wing where that takes advantage of his strengths. But Nuge has become a great defensive center, and they should take advantage of that. And, he'll get his chance on the power play to make plays and score goals, but they really just need him to lead a third line that can succeed. Or if McDavid and Draisaitl are put up together on the top line, he'll be on the second line, but then you got to find a third line center as well. Who else will be on that third line? Quinn Hudson was bumped up to the second line tonight, mainly because Trent Frederick again didn't get the job done. Alan Lowtide Mitchell did a great post on The Athletic where he looked at Frederick's speed, average speed in games, and he's down. The last 2 years, he's down significantly from the 2 years previous. And I think that's when they started to measure this stat. And it's clear that the injury that he received has seen him lose a step. It's not clear if he can gain that step back, if he's still recovering from the injury or not. But he is struggling out there. He's easily the weakest Oilers forward at 5-on-5. He's leaking grade A shots against. He's really struggling. So he's not part of the solution on the third line, maybe not on the fourth line. And so in his absence, from productive play, from productive two-way play, they've got to figure out some other solutions. Janmark has played okay, but he's not a third liner in terms of offense. He just isn't. Under Mangiapane's possibility, obviously Matt Savoy, Quinn Hudson, who I mentioned, he's got some real offensive talent. Josh Szymanski is a big center, third line center, or top line or second line center in Bakersfield. He's 23 years old, played a few years in Germany, is doing very well in the AHL. Maybe that's worth a test. What the Oilers should be doing, as long as they keep winning enough games to stay in a playoff position, is testing out players like they're doing right now with Hudson. Like they called up Clattenburg to see how he does. They should be testing players, and they should give Szymanski a test run. And they've been trying out Noah Philp, who has been okay-ish but hasn't done enough yet to win a job. But Szymanski's a big guy like Philp. He's a strong defensive player. You never know. Maybe if he knows how to play defense, if he can play defense, get the job done there. He's a big, rugged player. So, and he's putting up points at the AHL level. Why not give him a go? See how he does. And of course, there's the trade option. So, there's a number of things that can be tried and tested. And that's essentially what Knobloch's been doing this year. Nothing he's done has come close to working. And a big part of the issue is Frederick. It's in the last month, Henrique's fall, pretty significant drop off in play. It's Mangiapane struggling as well. It's Tomasek not really being able to step up. Curtis Lazar was always a fourth liner. Nugent Hopkins has been needed on the top line to rescue things. Roslovic got hurt. So The Oilers are, I don't think they're in tough. I think there's actually a number of interesting options. And I expect by playoff time, they will have a functional third line. But it's going to take the coach being very open to trying some new players like Hudson and Szymanski to see how it goes, because the veterans aren't the answer. It doesn't look like. Although I still hold hope that Mangiapane can get it together and figure it out. And Kapanen's coming back, Kasperi Kapanen. Now he is more of a fourth line guy in my view, although he played in the second line in the playoffs. So maybe that's a possibility as well. Finally, in net, we still don't know. We haven't had a report on Tristan Jarry, where he's at, how long he's going to be out for. People on the internet have been pointing out, Oilers fans on the net, that he, despite being out with injury last year and having a reputation as injury prone, he's only missed like 30 odd games as a pro due to injury. But he is out now, and we don't know how long. Ingram was really struggling at the AHL level. We'll see how he does in the NHL. The one wild card, and this is a real wild card, is Connor Unger, a 23-year-old goalie he's just ripping it up in the ECHL. He's got a 944 save percentage. He's probably the best goalie in the ECHL. 3 different teams, because the Oilers have 2 prospects on their Fort Wayne affiliate in Samuel Johnsson, who's cooled off due to injury, and Nathaniel Day. But Unger's been bumping around, but he's just been killing it in every place. And now he's been promoted to Bakersfield. And he's going to get some games in the AHL. If he can continue what he's done in the ECHL, in the AHL, maybe the Oilers have something there. And the focus should be getting Unger games in Bakersfield. Matt Tompkins has never been an NHL goalie, and there's never been any indication from his statistics that he is an NHL goalie. He's 31. He was signed as a placeholder veteran. And they should play Unger a lot, as much as they can, get him games, see what he can do, because we don't know how Pickard's going to hold up. We don't know how Ingram's going to hold up. Now, maybe lightning will strike. And, we've seen Calvin Pickard go on runs of strong play in the playoffs. So, but you can't count on 2 goalies who, between them, have the worst save percentage in the AHL and the NHL at this point for regular goalies. You've got to find other options. And while I'm confident that the Oilers will find a functional third and fourth lines by playoff time, goaltending is a question unless Jarry's healthy. So I'm less confident there. It's more of a pickle. And the Oilers are going to need some good luck there. They're going to need Jarry to stay healthy and hot. If those 2 things don't happen, good luck to the Oilers, because they've got some options, but none of them seem like anything close to a sure thing as a starting goalie in the playoffs at this point. Alrighty. Kurt will be back on the next podcast tomorrow. Excuse me. He'll be grading the game against Vegas. And we shall leave it there for tonight. So let me just find this tab. Here we go. Where are we? There we are. Thank you. So again, thanks for listening tonight. And we have a lot of gratitude for being able to converse with, discuss hockey with the smartest, sharpest, sanest hockey fans in the world. The fans of the Edmonton Oilers and the faithful of the Cult of Hockey. And in the meantime, and in between time, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.